Verification of that information. Because I've just recently come up with something that I was researching on cancer problem. But I found out that some of the information used from India is not true.
Yeah. And that is your responsibility as a teacher. Wikipedia is made up by people.
Technology cannot be used properly without a teacher, right?
No, that's right. No way are we suggesting that the teacher's role is diminished in this. In fact, it's more important to guide children through all of this. But that is one of the reasons.
Well, I think that...
Let me just move to another. Which group shall we... We'll show our two visitors how we're using. We're using a website called bubble.us, which is a mind mapping website. So we're all on the internet here, so each group in their discussions has built a mind map around what they've come up to talk about. And these are the names of the people on the different groups here. And so, which group is this one? That's you. Right. So this is your mind map then. Yeah. So, do you want to? I've got. Which groups have I still got to do? You and you haven't done. So do you want to just quickly tell me what are the? We're not going to have a lot of time for discussion. So just the key points, and then we'll choose one to have a lengthier discussion on.
Yeah, we talked about pretty much a lot of what everyone else has been talking about here. We didn't break it down into subject areas. We kind of just talked about things that we were using generally. So mind mapping software, teaching, the computer being used as a teaching aid, using websites like blogger.com, teachertube.com, documentary making. One of the teachers was teaching history and they made a documentary using historical facts, etc. And they were editing as well, you were saying? Yeah?
There's a software window movie maker, that's a brilliant software where your students can record their own voices as well. They can add the narration, background music. It's really wonderful. My students made a documentary about Indus Valley civilization. Podcasting, yes.
It's not up on YouTube, is it? There's some. I mean, I've seen some of the Beaconhouse videos on YouTube.
There is one on video, and the audio call is also made by the Beaconhouse Group.
Right. Yeah. But that's what, I mean, you're only doing, again, we're talking about sustaining what we already do. I mean, previously you'd have covered all of that, but you'd have done it on paper and so on. Now, the technology is allowing you to do more engaging things. It's exciting. And what you end up with is something you can share with the whole group and indeed with parents and so on.
And with other people learning in different areas. For example, globally you're able to put your stuff on maybe Vimeo.com, etc., and you can share those things with other schools and teachers in other parts of the world.
Yes. And there are websites where you don't have to necessarily, maybe you want to keep it within Beaconhouse just because it's children's pictures and so on, and you're a little bit concerned that everything goes up online. So you can, it's not difficult within a lot of these websites. Well, it's like this one, we're sharing mind maps. Now the only people that see the mind maps are ourselves who made each other friends on this website. Again, you need to be careful because you need to be reasonably confident that's what's happening. But you can put things up online and arrange it so that it's just the group of people that you want to see it that can see it.
It's very important. We can't give students a free hand of technology itself.
I think you have to teach them to use it.
There were some videos up on YouTube that were not very nice about Beaconhouse, so I think they've now been taken down. They were students who filmed in class and so on, but they're not up. You'll always get some silly pupils who don't even realise. I mean, there was that awful case in America, I know you saw where a young student killed himself. I think it was only 2 weeks ago. You see? He was filmed in his dormitory. As a new student at university, was filmed in his dormitory. Somebody left the webcam on the computer, and he was filmed in his dormitory. I won't go into what was filmed, but the point was, it was put up online. He was absolutely devastated. He went and killed himself. Cyberbullying is an issue. You know, and it was a very big case. You could find it online because there was a lot of discussion over it. That students don't understand. I mean, I'm sure those students that put it up online, I don't think they were very nice to have done it. I'm sure they didn't mean to have the effect that they had. They thought it was a silly prank. And they didn't think through how devastating it could be for the person concerned.
I think that's just more challenging for the teacher to communicate that sense of responsibility.
That is
monitoring the students.
More than monitoring, you can't always monitor the student on what they're doing, right? You teach them the responsibility.
Certain values
Yes.
and limitations.
Yeah.
Have these carriers that we can say them,
Yes.
we can share it anywhere in the world, and the students can see it
Yes.
around it after
Yes.
years and years. But there's one problem that after a few years, it's not free anymore. And they
Yes.
start asking for money. Say
Yes.
like we had those
When
social networks, we cannot have any access to them. And we were asked to who are content or to transfer it, either to give them money.
Yeah.
So can there be a solution for this? The whole thing should be under the website that is managed by the school.
The trouble with getting the schools to do it all is it's actually, there's a lot of expertise that is required to do it and a lot of resource. And by the time, I mean, we've done it in Scotland. In Scotland, we spent £43 million building a network across Scotland for all pupils and all schools in Scotland. It's called GLOW. And you can see it online. The problem is that by the time the Education Ministry in Scotland had gone through the process of getting it all done, paying out the money, what was built was already a bit out of date. And also they wanted to update it, and it was going to cost them more money. So there are obviously a real advantage to doing it yourself, but there are disadvantages to that as well. It costs and so on. Yes, but what I did with Ning, with the Grouply, what happened was, you could set up, there's a website called Ning, which you could set up a closed network. So you could set one up for your right. But then Ning started charging. They wanted you to pay so much every month to keep it going. But what happened was, so I had groups for Beaconhouse on Ning, but if you do a search on the internet, there's lots of groups like that. And Grouply, which is another one, I did some research on it, looked quite good, very similar to Ning. Not only that, I mean, they were free, but they produced a little bit of software that allowed you to basically suck everything you'd done on Ning out and reform it more or less identical to how it had been on Ning in Grouply. So that's what we did. So we took the Ning group and transported it across to Grouply, and so although Ning are charging, those Ning groups are now gone because we're not paying for those, and we've got the same groups running on Grouply.
I want to talk about the same issue. You said that when we are uploading things on the international forums, obviously we need to be very careful. Yes, we are learning. Still, we can also have to say is a baby, using technology and becoming aware of it. And their use is still, we are in the learning process. And so our students, we are teaching them, we are training them, we are making them aware of internet and cyberbullying and everything. So if you take again, it is a gradual process, and now people are, we are very careful about it, but sometimes, as you said, silly students.
Yeah, I think you can't help that.
Yes.
Have I got your one?
No, you have to
What's happened to you?
refresh your browser.
Okay. What I was going to say might be a good idea. Yeah, I mean, you could if you look at other people's names that were up on here. Then the second one, yeah. Now what did I can't remember what I did. Did I just double click on it? Or? No, I didn't. I put collaborate. There we go. If you put their name up and make them a friend, then you could actually share the mind map. All I'd suggest is that you might want to think about using that at some point with your students, that they all join up on this and make each other friends, or make you a friend, and you set them a task over the weekend. Because one of one of the things about Beaconhouse is all your students have got network computers at home. And I don't think that you're getting full advantage for the fact that they've got more technology at home than they've got access to in schools. And I think you ought to be setting them lots of tasks to do over the weekends and over the holidays. Nice things to do. Like if you're going to do a video about the Mughal Empire or something like that, then you ask them to collect resources and put them together and so on online and to do the preparation work. Or you could ask them to do a mind map of what they think about something or what they know about something and so on. But there's loads of websites that. Which one am I going to? This one. First one I can see. This one. So, because we're really close to the end, do you want to pick up anything on yours that other people haven't got, rather than repeating? Shall I go over to the English?
Yes, it's actually English, but English is there in every subject, so we can use whatever we have to share, we can use it in every subject according to the need. English, basically we have written listening, we have added some of these tools also. Audio broadcasting and podcasts can be downloaded for listening activities, video making, we can use Windows Movie Maker and Microsoft Photo Story, which is one of the resources I would like to share. You can download it and use it, it's very easy. And then social networking for all the subjects again, story writing on Wordle, and then Google Earth for geography, and maybe in English to show them places and mark them in virtual tours in all the subjects. Sorry.
And on Google Earth, I don't know if you've looked at what they call mashups, which are some of the, on Google Earth. People have taken books that are a novel, say, that is written about a particular place. So you might take, say, one of the novels by the Bronte sisters, which are usually based in the north of England. And what they've done is they've put onto Google Earth the places that are in the novel. So if you were reading the novel, you could go to Google Earth and actually have a look at the places.
Click on different buildings and things, they're shown and details are given there. And then virtual tours in all the subjects, English teachers, science teachers, social studies teachers, history, geography, in every subject you can use that. And in Urdu also, because when you're showing the virtual tours, they are beyond language barriers.
Can I move across? I'm just worried about time and don't want people
Video
to...
conferences, Skype and other things. MS logo for maths, we have MS logo for 3D shapes and World Maths Day where children can interact with international global audience. And then digital blue for science, you have talked about it. International forum like IRS, where we can work and share.
Good.
And I've this one, Microsoft Map with Map.
Right. The point about using this, just to be clear, the point about using this little device to do it on is just, first of all, to make the group, it makes it interesting to do it, introduce you to one small little thing, but to be aware that there are enormous numbers of resources now online. I think you could spend your whole life finding them. And, well, let me just say something, then I'll let you share. The whole point is that sharing is the important thing. That you are communicating with each other, and particularly people who are teaching the same age group as you, or the same subject as you, and finding out what they're doing, because there's a lot of good practice going on. And I say you can't find it all yourself, but a colleague might well find something. So if you find something really useful, you ought to find a method for sharing it across Beaconhouse. And of course, you can do it online. There should be a maths teachers forum, you know, a year 3 forum, and so on. Yes, there's a Times Educational Supplement in the UK. Is this the website?
Yeah.
Right. And what do you use it for then? The resources. Share over 50,000 free teaching resources. Okay. Right, we've got to finish now because you've got your lunch. Okay, can I thank everybody for their participation?